The airplane was supposed to be quiet. Everyone was supposed to be sleeping or reading or watching movies on their tiny screens. But nobody could do any of those things because of one sound. Wah-wah. Baby Marcus had been crying for 2 whole hours. Not the kind of crying that stops after a few minutes. Not the gentle whimpering that makes people say, "Ah, poor baby." This was the kind of screaming that made your ears hurt and your head pound and your teeth feel funny. Mr. Davidson held his 6-month-old son and felt like crying himself. Sweat dripped down his face even though the airplane was cold. His expensive suit was wrinkled and covered in spit-up. His perfectly combed hair now stuck up in every direction from running his hands through it so many times. It's okay," Mr. Davidson whispered for the 1,000th time. But Marcus only cried harder. Mr. Davidson was one of the richest men in America. He owned 20 hotels and 15 restaurants. He had 3 houses and 5 fancy cars. People called him Sir, and opened doors for him wherever he went. But right now, all his money couldn't help him. All his power couldn't make his baby stop crying. He tried everything. He gave Marcus a bottle. Marcus pushed it away. He changed Marcus's diaper in the tiny bathroom, bumping his head twice. Marcus still cried. He bounced him. He rocked him. He even played music on his phone right next to Marcus's little ear. Nothing worked. The other passengers were getting angry. Really, really angry. An old lady in a purple hat kept sighing so loud that everyone could hear her over the crying. "Some people shouldn't bring babies on airplanes," she said, not even trying to whisper. A man in a business suit banged his laptop closed. "This is ridiculous. I paid $2,000 for this seat." Even the flight attendants, who were supposed to smile no matter what, looked tired and frustrated. One of them brought Mr. Davidson warm milk. Another brought a stuffed animal. Nothing helped. Mr. Davidson wanted to disappear. He wanted to tell everyone that he was sorry, that he didn't know his baby would cry like this. His wife was supposed to come on this trip, but she got very sick at the last minute. The nanny they hired got sick too. So Mr. Davidson had to bring Marcus to London all by himself, even though he'd never taken care of a baby alone before. "I'm so sorry," Mr. Davidson said to the people around him. "I don't know what to do." Nobody answered him. They just stared with angry eyes. Marcus's face was bright red. Tears ran down his chubby cheeks. His little fists punched the air. He sounded so sad, so upset, that Mr. Davidson's heart felt like it was breaking into pieces. That's when something strange happened. A small voice came from behind Mr. Davidson's seat. "Excuse me, sir." Mr. Davidson turned around and saw a boy. Not a grown-up. Not a doctor or a nurse. Just a regular boy who looked about 12 years old. The boy had dark skin and kind eyes. He wore a faded blue jacket that was too small for him and sneakers with holes in the toes. He carried a backpack covered in patches and held together with safety pins. Everything about him said he didn't have much money. But his face showed something else. Confidence. Like he knew exactly what he was doing. "I think I can help your baby," the boy said quietly. Mr. Davidson stared at him. So did everyone else nearby. The whole section of the airplane seemed to hold its breath. "You?" Mr. Davidson asked, not meaning to sound rude, but unable to hide his surprise. "You're just a kid." "Yes, sir. I'm 12. But I know about crying babies." The boy took a step closer. "My little brother Tommy cried just like that. Every single day for 6 months. I learned how to make him stop." Mr. Davidson looked at his screaming son. Then at the boy. Then at all the angry passengers who were glaring at him. What did he have to lose? "Okay," Mr. Davidson said, his voice shaking. "Please. Try." The boy smiled. "May I hold him?" Mr. Davidson carefully passed Marcus to the boy, expecting the crying to get even worse. Strangers usually made babies cry more, not less. But then something impossible happened. The moment the boy's hands touched Marcus, the crying changed. It got quieter, softer. The boy held Marcus in a special way, with one hand under his bottom and the other supporting his head. Then the boy's fingers began moving in small circles on Marcus's back. Gentle. Steady. Like he'd done it 1,000,000 times before. Marcus's screams turned to whimpers. His whimpers turned to hiccups. His hiccups turned to silence. Complete, beautiful, wonderful silence. The entire airplane seemed to freeze. 200 people stopped moving, stopped breathing, stopped everything, just to make sure this miracle was real. Marcus's red face slowly turned back to its normal color. His eyes, which had been squeezed shut, opened wide. He looked up at the boy and made a sound that wasn't crying at all. He cooed. A happy, gentle, baby sound. Then Marcus smiled. Mr. Davidson felt tears in his own eyes, but not sad tears. Happy tears. Amazed tears. How did you? What did you? Who are you? The boy kept rubbing Marcus's back in those gentle circles. My name is Jamie, sir. Jamie Foster. I'm from Detroit, and I'm on my way to London for the biggest math competition in the world. And that's when Mr. Davidson realized that this mysterious boy with holes in his shoes had just done something that no amount of money could buy. He'd created a miracle. Everyone in the airplane stared at Jamie like he was a wizard who had just performed real magic. The old lady in the purple hat leaned forward to get a better look. The angry businessman's mouth hung open. Even the flight attendants gathered around, whispering to each other in amazement. Marcus was completely calm now, his tiny hand wrapped around Jamie's finger. His eyes were getting heavy and sleepy. I don't understand, Mr. Davidson said, shaking his head in wonder. Doctors couldn't figure out how to calm him. Professional nannies couldn't do it. How did you know what to do? Jamie kept rocking Marcus gently. When my baby brother Tommy was born, he cried all the time. Day and night. My mama worked 2 jobs, so she was always tired. My grandma was too old to hold a crying baby for hours. So it became my job to figure it out. But you were just a kid yourself, Mr. Davidson said. I was 10, Jamie replied. But Tommy needed help, and nobody else could give it to him. So I went to the library every day after school. I read every book about babies I could find. I watched videos on the old computer at the community center. I tried everything until something finally worked. Mr. Davidson felt a strange feeling in his chest. Shame, maybe. Or respect. Or both. Here was a boy who'd had to become an expert on babies because his family needed him, while Mr. Davidson, with all his money and resources, hadn't even known where to start. What was wrong with Tommy? Mr. Davidson asked. He had something called colic. It's when a baby's tummy hurts really bad, but nobody knows exactly why. The doctor said there was no medicine for it. We just had to wait for Tommy to grow out of it. Jamie's fingers continued their gentle circles on Marcus's back. But I learned that if you hold them a certain way and rub their back just right, it helps the gas bubbles move. That's what's hurting them. And the humming. Mr. Davidson had noticed Jamie was humming a soft tune. My grandma taught me that song. She said it was older than old, passed down from her grandma's grandma. Something about the rhythm matches a baby's heartbeat and makes them feel safe. Marcus's eyes finally closed all the way. He was asleep. Actually, peacefully asleep. Jamie carefully transferred the sleeping baby back to Mr. Davidson's arms, showing him exactly how to hold Marcus so he'd stay comfortable. Thank you, Mr. Davidson whispered, afraid to speak louder and wake his son. Thank you so much. I'm Richard Davidson, and I don't know how to repay you. You don't need to repay me, sir. I'm just glad I could help. Jamie started to walk back to his seat. Wait, Mr. Davidson said. Please, sit down for a minute. Tell me about this math competition. Jamie hesitated. The empty first-class seat next to Mr. Davidson looked incredibly comfortable compared to his cramped seat in the back of the plane. But he also knew that sometimes rich people didn't like poor kids sitting near them. It's okay, Mr. Davidson said, seeing Jamie's worry. Please. I want to hear your story. Jamie sat down carefully, like the seat might break. It's called the International Youth Mathematics Championship. Only the smartest kids from every country get invited. If you win, you get a full scholarship to any university in the world. Any university? Mr. Davidson's eyes widened. That's incredible. How did you qualify? Jamie's face lit up when he talked about math. I won the Detroit City competition, then the Michigan State Championship, then the whole country. I've always been good with numbers. They just make sense to me in a way that words sometimes don't. Your parents must be so proud. Jamie's smile faded a little. My dad died when I was 7. Car accident. So it's just me, my mama, Tommy, and Grandma. Mama works at a hospital cleaning rooms, and she takes extra shifts at a grocery store on weekends. We don't have much money. Mr. Davidson felt that strange feeling in his chest again. How did you afford the plane ticket to London? My whole neighborhood raised money for me, Jamie said, and now his voice got thick with emotion. Mr. Chen from the corner store started a collection jar. Pastor Williams organized a fundraiser at church. Mrs. Rodriguez, my math teacher, used her own money to help. Even people who barely had enough food for themselves gave me $5, $10, whatever they could. Jamie pulled out a wrinkled envelope from his jacket pocket. They all wrote me letters. Look. Mr. Davidson read a few of the notes. Make us proud, Jamie. You're going to change the world. Mr. Chen. God has big plans for you, son. Show them what Detroit kids can do. Pastor Williams. I always knew you were special. Now go prove it. Mrs. Rodriguez. There were dozens more. Each one filled with hope and love and belief in this 12-year-old boy. Mr. Davidson's throat felt tight. He'd been focused on his business meetings in London, worried about profits and contracts and impressing important people. But here was a kid carrying the dreams of an entire community on his shoulders. A kid who had to become an expert on crying babies because his family needed him. A kid who just saved Mr. Davidson's sanity without asking for anything in return. Jamie, Mr. Davidson said slowly, I have a problem, and I think you might be the only person who can help me. Jamie looked confused. Sir, I have 5 days of very important business meetings in London. But I can't bring Marcus to those meetings. And I can't leave him alone in a hotel room. And I clearly don't know how to take care of him by myself. Mr. Davidson took a deep breath. I'd like to hire you to be Marcus's caregiver while I'm in London. I'll pay you $100 per hour. I'll get you your own hotel room. And I'll make sure you get to your competition and back safely. Jamie's eyes grew so wide they looked like they might pop out of his head. $100 per hour? You just did something that no one else could do. You have a skill that's incredibly valuable to me right now. That skill is worth paying for. Jamie's mind was racing. $100 per hour. If he worked even a few hours each day, that would be more money than his mama made in a whole week. Maybe even a whole month. His family could pay bills. Buy groceries. Fix the broken heater before winter came. But then Jamie thought about why he was going to London in the first place. The competition. His community's dreams. Everything riding on him doing his best. Mr. Davidson, Jamie said carefully, I want to help you. Really, I do. But the competition is the most important thing in my whole life. If I don't do well, I let down everyone who believed in me. Mr. Davidson nodded. I understand. What if I promise that caring for Marcus won't interfere with the competition at all? You'd only watch him during my meetings, and I'd make sure you have plenty of time to study and rest. Jamie bit his lip, thinking hard. This was the biggest decision of his life. Accept the money his family desperately needed, or focus completely on the competition that could change his future forever. What should he do? Jamie looked at the sleeping baby in Mr. Davidson's arms. Then he looked at the envelope full of letters from his neighborhood. His heart felt like it was being pulled in 2 different directions. Can I think about it? Jamie asked quietly. Of course, Mr. Davidson said. Take all the time you need. Jamie walked back to his seat in the economy section. His mind was spinning like a tornado. $100 per hour could change everything for his family. His mama could stop working 2 jobs. Tommy could get new shoes that actually fit. Grandma could finally fix her broken glasses. But what if taking care of Marcus made him too tired to do well in the competition? What if he couldn't study enough? What if he let everyone down? Jamie pulled out his math notebook and tried to focus on practice problems. But the numbers blurred together. He couldn't concentrate. Then he remembered something his grandma always said, "Baby, when you don't know what to do, ask yourself what love would do." Love. That was it. Jamie had learned to help crying babies because he loved Tommy. Mr. Davidson needed help because he loved Marcus. Jamie's whole neighborhood had given money because they loved him. Love wasn't about choosing between people. Love was about finding a way to help everyone. Jamie stood up and walked back to first class. Mr. Davidson looked up hopefully. "I'll do it," Jamie said. "But I have conditions." Mr. Davidson smiled. "Name them." "I need to practice math for at least 3 hours every day. No interruptions." "Done." "I need to go to bed by 9 o'clock so I'm not tired for the competition." "Absolutely." "And—" Jamie paused, then spoke in a rush. "I want you to teach me about business." Mr. Davidson looked surprised. "Business?" "Yes, sir. You're successful because you're smart about money and making deals and running companies. If I'm going to help my community someday, I need to learn that stuff too. Math is important, but I also need to understand how the business world works." Mr. Davidson felt tears in his eyes for the second time that day. This 12-year-old boy wasn't just thinking about himself or his family. He was already planning how to help his whole neighborhood. "Jamie Foster," Mr. Davidson said, "you just made the smartest deal I've heard in years." "Yes. I'll teach you everything I know about business." They shook hands like 2 businessmen making an important agreement. The next 5 days in London were magical. During the mornings, Jamie took care of Marcus while Mr. Davidson attended his meetings. Jamie had no problem keeping the baby happy and calm. He even taught the hotel staff his special techniques for soothing fussy babies. During the afternoons, Jamie studied mathematics while Marcus napped. Mr. Davidson made sure Jamie had a quiet room, plenty of paper, and all the time he needed. During the evenings, after Marcus was asleep, Mr. Davidson taught Jamie about business. They talked about how to start a company, how to manage money, how to negotiate deals, and how to treat people fairly. Jamie soaked up every lesson like a sponge. "The most important rule in business," Mr. Davidson said one night, "is that people matter more than profits. If you take care of people, success will follow." Jamie thought about how Mr. Davidson had treated him with respect from the very beginning, even though Jamie was just a poor kid with holes in his shoes. That taught him more than any textbook could. The day of the competition arrived. Jamie's stomach was full of butterflies, but he felt ready. Mr. Davidson drove him to the competition center and waited outside with Marcus. "Good luck, Jamie," Mr. Davidson said. "But honestly, I don't think you need luck. You've got something better. You've got determination, intelligence, and a good heart." Jamie walked into the competition room with his head held high. The problems were incredibly hard. Kids from 30 different countries sat at tables, their faces scrunched up in concentration. Some of the problems took an hour to solve. Some seemed impossible. But Jamie remembered all those nights at the library, teaching himself advanced math. He remembered his mama working double shifts so he could have a better life. He remembered every person in his neighborhood who believed in him, and he solved every single problem. 3 days later, the results were announced. Jamie stood on stage in front of hundreds of people, holding a trophy that was almost as big as he was. "First place," the announcer said, "goes to Jamie Foster from Detroit, Michigan, USA." The crowd cheered, but the loudest cheer came from Mr. Davidson, who was standing in the back of the room holding Marcus. The baby was clapping his tiny hands and smiling. Jamie had won. He'd earned a full scholarship to MIT. His dream was coming true. But something even more amazing happened after the competition. Mr. Davidson created a new program called the Jamie Foster Scholarship Fund. Every year, it would pay for 5 kids from poor neighborhoods to attend college. Kids who were smart and hardworking but didn't have money. Kids just like Jamie. "You taught me something important," Mr. Davidson told Jamie on their flight back home. "Success isn't about how much money you make. It's about how many people you help along the way." Jamie smiled and looked at Marcus, who was sleeping peacefully in his arms. "I learned something too, Mr. Davidson. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is ask for help. And sometimes the kindest thing you can do is offer it." 5 years later, Jamie was studying at MIT. But every summer, he went back to Detroit to run a free math program for kids in his neighborhood. He taught them that no matter where you come from, no matter how much money your family has, you can achieve amazing things if you work hard and believe in yourself. And every time a baby cried, Jamie knew exactly what to do. Because some lessons, once learned, stay with you forever. The most important lesson of all? One small act of kindness can change everything. Not just for one person, but for everyone whose life they touch. Jamie had shown kindness to a crying baby and a desperate father. And that one moment of compassion had created ripples that spread out into the world, changing lives in ways Jamie never could have imagined. That's the power of doing the unthinkable. That's the power of choosing love. If this story touched your heart, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more inspiring stories that will make you believe in the goodness of people. Share this with someone who needs to hear that kindness always matters. What act of kindness will you do today? Tell us in the comments below.